This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hey everyone, Jason Morgan, editor of Fleet Equipment. Welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. I am still going through all the footage that I got at ACT Expo here at the beginning of September, and I wanted to tee up this next video because Rich Mohr, Global Vice President of Fleet at ChargePoint, I talked to him for a charging infrastructure story, and he blew my mind. Like, he walked me through the questions that need answered, the things fleets need to consider when looking at charging infrastructure. So when it came to ACT Expo, I knew that I wanted to connect with him. I did so. I stopped by the ChargePoint booth. I checked out all the charging infrastructure equipment. He walked me through the sizes, the options, the mounting, how it all works. So that's what this video is. So here you go, Rich Mohr, Global Vice President of Fleet at ChargePoint, walking me through the ChargePoint booth. So what are we looking at?
So this is our basic fleet charger for behind the fence. This is our CPF 50, which is our AC charger. So you can see that this is open. There's no display on this, so there's no charger control as far as the driver has to do an RFID card or have a credit card. So all this is controlled by the software on the fleet. So whether it's on or it's off, or what does it charge, and this all hooks into our software. So this is your typical low power AC commercial behind the fleet charging. Okay. So this charger is pretty standard for every AC vehicle. Okay. And then when you move from this, you can move to our next higher power AC charger, which is our Adm Charger configuration. So this goes all the way up to 20 kilowatts.
Okay.
So this will charge almost at DC rates in an AC package.
Okay, give me a quick idea of what size vehicle. So charging at DC rates, but is that like a Class 8 truck or anything?
You could. So some of the Class 8s will take an AC charger. Now, it would take you, many hours to charge.
Right.
But really what this is practical for is vehicles like the Ford Transit or the Sprinters, where you need a little bit higher power, but you still have long dwell times.
Right.
So this is great in bus applications. Okay. So bigger batteries, with a higher power that you can charge at. So it's a considerable jump from the low power CPF 50 to our 80 amp product.
Okay.
And the nice thing about 80 amp product is this can be used in a retail setting where you have a screen, or it can be blank just like that. So when the driver pulls up, so if this is on your yard and your yard's not fenced in, and a final mile customer is coming, they can fuel by using their ChargePoint app or an RFID card, or you can turn this off.
Okay.
And then we have all different configurations. We can go up to an 8-foot tall configuration with 23-foot cables, to the standard 6-foot tall with the 18-foot cables. So these are both AC chargers, but just two completely different use cases for it. And vehicles that will charge on that will charge on this. Okay. Just this charges at a higher voltage. So 80
you
amps.
said 80 amps. So is this kind of like the entry
almost
point?
20 kW.
So is that kind of the ballpark entry point for commercial? If that's more,
no,
they're all
commercial.
suited?
These are both commercial chargers. They're both fleet chargers, because you see they're not for parking lots where you and I would charge our car.
Okay.
So these are behind the fence chargers. This one has a little bit more retail capability, or you can get it with the blank screen that looks more similar to that.
Okay.
So these are going to cover 90% of your use cases on any AC charging in North America, period. And in Europe, it's going to cover the single phase or the 3-phase charging configuration, whether you're in Europe or you're in the U.S.
Okay.
So this comes shipped ready to handle 3-phase or single phase anywhere in the world.
Okay, perfect.
So then you'd start from here. This is the top end of AC charging right here. And then you'd start to move into DC options, where you can see our Express Plus charger configuration. So the way this works. So now you're moving into DC charging, where you're going to start running configurations of DC charging in different levels of modules. So this goes from 40 kW all the way up to 200 kW. Okay. And the way that works is these power modules behind you, these power modules slide into the cabinet. So these are in 40 kW configurations, and you can run 5 in there to get you to 200. You can run 1 of these, 2 of these, 3 or 4. So you can run 200 kW all the way up to 800 kW, distributed through up to 8 of these power links, which gives you 16 charging ports sequentially. So the nice thing about this is you can mount this hundreds of yards away from where your fuel island's going to be in your yard. So if you need to be in the back of a building, or you need to be on a back piece of property, these mount very close. So you don't need any space behind them on your operation. So you're not taking 6 foot of space from your fence line to put a power block behind it, and then this, and then your bollards in front of it. So you're not eating up half your space to have chargers. So this is a flush design, and this can be done in a ground mount, or we can do it in a gantry, which is up there, which really this charger is the same as that. So this is all water and snow protection underneath here. This comes off, and then we can do a gantry mount in any type of configuration with up to 23-foot cables on it.
Oh, wow, okay. I'm going to walk around and
that's fine. You go with that.
Yeah, very cool.
So when you see this, you can think about transit operations or heavy truck operations, or you're in really, really tight spaces against the building line, and you want to mount these on a gantry against your building, because you don't want to use that space, and you want the trucks to be able to back up all the way. So maybe a curb here, and you can overhead mount. So we can overhead mount, same configuration, up to 8 of those off. So 16 chargers total.
Okay.
And then in our software, we can set how you want to charge those vehicles. Do you want to charge first in, first out? Do you want to charge opportunity? Do you want to charge sequentially? How do you want to manage the power? The nice thing about the power block technology is you can start with 200 kW and do 8 links off that. You can then expand to 400, 600, or 800, and you don't have to buy any additional hardware. So your cost per port is extremely low when you deploy our DC technology. So you think about the amount of vehicles you can charge by just adding power behind, rather than having to add individual chargers to every single vehicle that comes in your yard.
Yeah, because scaling charging right now too is a conversation as more fleets put more trucks in. Would the mounted hang one, would that have a shop application? Would fleets be putting that more in a shop too?
Shop, and we see it in bus, right? So when the buses have to back up to the building and they want to mount it overhead. So this one, obviously that's pretty tall. That's probably 10 foot. But it's nowhere near the space that you pick up when you mount it overhead like this.
Well, and even safety, and you know how backing vehicles. I mean, everyone's good about it.
And you don't see it in this scenario, but our cable retraction device that comes with this is unbelievable. It's a hydraulic device that actually will manage your cable height exactly the way that you want to set it.
Okay, very cool. That's very cool.
So when you look at, really this piece, we always recommend customers wire for the full 16 or full 8 when you're putting in a power block, because once you have the ground ripped open, that's most of the cost of the project. So even if you never use them again, but to have the extra stubs available to expand, it costs you nothing in the total project of it. So if you have the space available, and then certainly we can always expand later if we need to, but then you're breaking concrete again, over again. And wire in the total project is really nothing.
Well, and if you're investing on the front end, expansion is probably in your future at some point. You know what I mean? You're not putting this in just to have 2 trucks or 3 trucks. You're going to expand.
And then that's very cool. And then you can see with the power block, same type of protection. So all your power modules are obviously here in your cabinet. And then this is, obviously for water and snow protection on bottom. This technology is just unbelievable. You would be floored on how quiet it is. It's unbelievable how quiet it is.
Very cool.
So, and then this is being deployed right now across the U.S. We have a number of customers that have pre-bought this and they got first deliveries of this this calendar year. And then they're getting these types of configurations or the overhead type of configurations.
Very cool.
And there's all kinds of things, and this also will serve in a retail environment too. So this can come configured with a display, just like that. So you can do credit card payment, you can do RFID payment, you can use it in a consumer or retail setting.
Okay, very cool.
And the nice thing about our hardware is the LCD screen in that is compatible with this, and it was compatible with that. So when you run a mixed fleet, so all of our equipment is configurable with each other. So these cables and these power modules, the power modules in there are the same that sit in our CP250, our other high power product. So interoperability between all of our hardware is extremely good. And the ability to replace parts on our hardware is extremely versatile. So you're only stocking, most cases you're only stocking 13 parts, and you have all the charging components that you need to be able to maintain your fleet.
Well, and we talked a little bit about it too here beforehand, just the interoperability of all the components, the trucks with the charging. So it speaks to that theme. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing us around.
Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks.